The sales funnel is the sixth element of the new strategic selling, and it's also the final one. But so many of our clients have asked us over the years, what about the competition? That we really should say a few words before we close about our unique approach to this issue. Our observations on competition, in fact, are one of the things that make the new strategic selling new. So what about it, Steve? I know you fielded this question about 100 times. When a client says, no matter how good your strategy, you can still get done in by the competition, how do you respond?
Well, certainly that's true. My problem with that kind of statement is that we already spend too much time and energy thinking about the competition. What do we have to do to compete better? How do we get in front of them? How do we prevent them from blindsiding us, etc.? I think the issue is not so much that Miller Heiman doesn't devote much time to the competition. I think it's rather that most salespeople devote far too much time to thinking about competition. And thinking too much about competition is what causes strategies to become defensive, and defensive strategies are rarely strong strategies.
I think a reactive strategy like that really lets the competition set the agenda.
And very often that's the case. Placing too much time and energy on competition means that you end up with a Me Too strategy. It's one that goes like this: we can do anything they can do, or we can do anything they can do better. And it does not highlight the unique attributes and great strengths that you have that make you significantly different and better than the competition.
I think if you're spending all your energy trying to outdo the competition, it's like you're trying to eliminate a huge red flag without using any leverage.
Yes, you not only don't have leverage, but you are not spending the time in the creative part of selling, which is developing actions that highlight, reinforce, and leverage upon your strengths. And those strengths are your strengths as an individual, your strengths in your product, your strengths in your organization, a whole array of strengths that take a back seat to the Me Tooing of competition if you're not very careful.
I think that most good companies, and I mean competitively good companies, try and offer their customers not the cheapest or the largest or the most advanced or the spiffiest product on the market, but rather the best possible solution for the individual customer's need. We explain this in greater detail in our conceptual selling process, but it's also the heart of our teaching about competition. Maybe we should go back just a bit and define exactly what we mean by competition. When you say the competition, we don't just mean the firm next door that's fighting you tooth and nail for market share.
There are lots of kinds of competition. There's the competition in the traditional sense, that is those companies who fight for the same dollar that we're fighting for. There is also the competition of an organization doing nothing. Very strong competition is not spending any money at all, electing to ignore the area in which you're trying to sell for some other point in time, and the company moving to another area of priority. And another form of competition that many of you face out there is your customer or prospective customer doing whatever it is you're attempting to sell for themselves. Not buying it from your competitor, not buying it from you, but utilizing their own resources to get it done.
I know that one of the questions that people have asked us for years about strategic selling is, why doesn't competition actually appear on the blue sheet? And I think that you have always felt, and I have always felt, that competition is inherent. It's inherent in your position in an account for a specific selling situation, in either a strength or a weakness.
Yeah, it's really not something separate. When you talk about red flags, certainly some of the red flags have to do with issues that are either created by your competition, caused by your competition, or in some way impacts your competition. And what we want you to do is to spend the greatest amount of energy, once again, in the area of strengths, because the best way to beat competition is to have no competition. And the best way to have no competition is to have you seen as unique and special in such a way that they can't buy from anybody else what it is that you have. Not only that the customer can't buy it from somebody else, they really need what you have because you're such a perfect fit to what they're trying to get done. The best way to make competition go away is to, in fact, create an environment in which You are the only logical, plausible answer to the customer's problem or issue.
So it all comes back in the end to the win-win outcome.
And that's correct also, that if in fact you have a win-win result, then competition plays no part in that, because there are only two sides that can win in this environment. It's you and your organization that's doing the selling, and it's the customer and their organization that's doing the buying.
I think that today the most effective sales professionals know that the secret to continued success is delivering solid win results to their buying influences every time, so that they're able to nurture long-term profitable relationships. And I'm talking about relationships that overcome not just the hazards of competition, but the countless other red flags in business today. So by enabling your customers to win, you win too. And that's the heart of our very practical selling philosophy. As our clients have been saying for 20 years, strategic selling works. You've been listening to the new Strategic Selling, and I'd like to thank you, Steve, for sharing your experiences with our listeners. Are there any closing thoughts you'd like to add?
In closing, I guess I would have to say that after more than 30 years in the selling profession, I continue to believe that it is one of the most satisfying and enjoyable professions that there is anywhere on this planet. And one of the ways to continue to make it enjoyable as we move into a worldwide economy in the new millennium is to play win-win, to in fact have a philosophy that does not allow either you, the seller, or the customer to lose in any kind of business situation. And the responsibility falls on your shoulders. You cannot leave it at the doorstep of the customer. You have to assure that it will turn out win-win. And if you do that, you will develop the kind of business relationships that are long-lasting, satisfying, and continue to make this profession to be one that is a lot of fun.
I know it's a high-pressure world out there, and in the course of that high-pressure world, it's sometimes easy to forget that that's the essential part of selling. Thanks again, and thanks to you, our listeners, for your interest and attention. If you'd like to learn more about strategic selling or any of Miller Heiman's other selling processes, please give us a call toll-free at 1-800-526-6400. This is Diane Sanchez with Steve Heiman, wishing you not good luck, because luck doesn't have anything to do with it, but good selling.